Throughout history, entire empires have risen and fallen not just because of kings or generals, but because of warriors so feared that their very presence could decide a battle before it even began. Some were trained from childhood. Some fought for honor. Some fought for faith, empire, or survival. Today, we're counting down the 10 most dangerous warriors in history, not ranked by myth or legend, but by training, effectiveness, reputation, and the fear they inspired in their enemies. This isn't about who looked the most intimidating. It's about who changed the course of history with steel, discipline, and blood. First on my list is the Aztec Eagle and Jaguar warriors. The Aztec warrior elite emerged from a civilization built entirely around war and ritual. Unlike most armies, Aztec warfare was designed to capture enemies alive, not simply destroy them. Eagle and Jaguar warriors earned their status through repeated success on the battlefield, proving both courage and skill. They fought with obsidian-edged weapons capable of inflicting horrific wounds, even against armored opponents. During Spain's invasion, conquistadors recorded shock at how quickly these warriors overwhelmed European formations through numbers, speed, and coordinated assaults. At their peak, the Aztec Empire controlled much of central Mexico through constant military pressure and intimidation. Their downfall came not from battlefield weakness, but from disease, internal resentment among subject states, and alliances with the Spanish, who exploited Aztec enemies. What made them unique? They believed war sustained the universe itself, making every battle a sacred duty. Next up is the medieval knights. The medieval knights originated from the feudal system of Europe, where land ownership and military service were inseparable. From childhood, noble-born boys trained relentlessly in riding, weapons, and tactics, eventually becoming heavily armored shock troops. At battles like Hastings, Bouvines, and countless feudal wars, knights dominated open-field combat. A cavalry charge could smash infantry lines through sheer momentum and steel. Knights were not just fighters, but symbols of authority, enforcing the power of kings and lords across Europe. Their dominance declined as disciplined infantry formations, longbows, crossbows, and eventually gunpowder weapons made heavy armor less effective. The rise of professional standing armies marked the end of the knight as the battlefield elite. What made them unique? A knight was both a warrior and a political institution, shaping European society for centuries. The Gurkhas are next on my list. They originated in the rugged hills of Nepal, where harsh terrain forged physically resilient and mentally disciplined fighters. Their reputation began during wars against the British East India Company, where their ferocity impressed and frightened British commanders. Rather than destroy them, Britain recruited them. Gurkhas went on to fight in nearly every major British conflict, from colonial wars to both world wars. Their effectiveness in jungle warfare, mountain combat, and close-quarters fighting made them legendary. Despite modern warfare evolving, Gurkhas remain active today, proving their adaptability. Their fearsome reputation was built not on brutality, but on absolute fearlessness and loyalty. What made them unique? Gurkhas turned former enemies into lifelong comrades in arms. Coming up next, the Vikings. They emerged from Scandinavia around the 8th century, driven by population pressure, trade ambitions, and a warrior culture that glorified death in battle. They were not chaotic raiders, but organized fighters skilled in naval warfare and battlefield coordination. Viking longships allowed lightning-fast strikes across Europe, from England to the Mediterranean. Battles like Stamford Bridge and sieges across Francia revealed their ability to fight disciplined land battles, not just raids. Their era ended as Viking leaders converted to Christianity, settled into kingdoms, and became rulers rather than raiders. The warrior culture remained, but transformed into medieval states. What made them unique? They combined exploration, trade, and warfare into a single, unstoppable force. The Janissaries are up next. They were created by the Ottoman Empire as a revolutionary concept, a permanent, salaried, professional army, loyal only to the state. Taken as children through the Devshirme system, they were raised, educated, and trained exclusively for war. They played decisive roles in Ottoman expansion, including the conquest of Constantinople in 1453, Janissaries mastered firearms early, giving the Ottomans a technological edge over European rivals. Ironically, their downfall came from power. Over time, they became politically influential, resistant to reform, and eventually a liability. In 1826, the Ottoman state violently dissolved the Janissary Corps. What made them unique? They were among the first modern soldiers in history. What about the Roman legionaries? They were the engine of one of history's greatest empires. Unlike warrior elites, Roman soldiers were ordinary citizens trained to fight as part of a system. Discipline, engineering, logistics, and adaptability made them unstoppable. Legions conquered Gaul, crushed Carthage, and expanded Roman rule across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. They built roads, forts, and cities wherever they marched, permanently reshaping conquered lands. Rome's decline came from internal political chaos, economic strain, and pressure from external enemies. The legion remained formidable, but the state that supported it collapsed. What made them unique? Rome conquered not just with swords, but with organization. Up next is deadly samurai warriors, emerging during Japan's feudal era as warrior administrators serving regional lords. Their power rested on loyalty, martial skill, and the Bushido code, which emphasized honor, self-control, and duty. They fought in countless internal wars, culminating in massive conflicts like the Sengoku period. Samurai adapted over time, mastering archery, swordsmanship, and eventually firearms. Their dominance ended during Japan's modernization in the 19th century, when centralized armies replaced feudal warriors. Samurai lost their status, but not their cultural legacy. What made them unique? They fused philosophy, governance, and warfare into a single identity. Spartans. What is your profession? The Spartans were shaped by a society entirely devoted to war. From age 7, boys entered the agoge, a brutal system designed to produce disciplined, heavy infantry. Sparta dominated southern Greece for generations, defeating rivals like Athens in the Peloponnesian War. Their strength lay in unity. Spartans fought not as individuals, but as a single organism. Their decline came from demographic collapse and resistance to adaptation. Sparta's system created excellent warriors, but too few of them. What made them unique? They sacrificed everything, including personal freedom, for military perfection. Our penultimate entry is the Mongol warriors. Rising from the steppes under Genghis Khan, uniting rival tribes into the most effective war machine in history. Mounted from childhood, they combined speed, archery, intelligence, and discipline. They destroyed armies across Asia, the Middle East, and Europe, capturing the largest contiguous empire ever seen. Cities that resisted were annihilated, spreading terror far ahead of Mongol armies. Their empire fragmented after leadership disputes and cultural assimilation, but their impact reshaped global trade, warfare, and geopolitics. What made them unique? They weaponized mobility and intelligence like no army before them. And last but certainly not least, we conclude our list today with the Persian immortals. The Persian immortals were the elite guard of the Achaemenid Empire, the first true superpower in history. They served as both shock troops and royal protectors. Persia controlled territory from the Balkans to the Indus Valley, ruling through tolerance, infrastructure, and military strength. The immortals symbolized imperial stability. Their numbers always appeared constant. Their fall came with Alexander the Great's conquest, which shattered Persian military dominance. Yet, Persia's administrative model survived long after its armies fell. What made them unique? They represented imperial continuity, an army designed to appear eternal. Each of these warriors dominated their era in different ways. Some relied on discipline, some relied on terror, some relied on technology, culture, or belief. But they all shared one thing. When they entered battle, history changed. The question isn't who would win in a fight. The real question is this: which warrior would you fear facing the most? I hope you enjoyed the video. Understand that this is my opinion, the top 10 of my choice. I would come into much trouble finding someone to agree on my exact 10, but hopefully some, if not most, would feature on your list. Do leave a like on the video and consider subscribing for more content like this. Until next time.